Hey there guys, numerous trading cards, and today I'm going to be going over my Extreme Battler Victor deck profile. So far, this is easily the most free-to-play event that they've done, and if I was smarter with my resources, I could have actually gotten the full G-Zone completed. But at the same time, I do feel like because of the way I spent my material, because of how many stage ups I did get, because I got quite a few stage ups during this event, this won't be exactly the same for you. As my experience, or in future versions of the event when it's harder to stage up during the event to get more stamina. But I can confidently say that you can get all the triple rares and below 4-up easily in this, even with the only with staging up every few days. You can easily get a place of all the triple rares and below, and 2 of the GRs, assuming that they keep these rates into the future, and you get lucky with some black Vanguards. For the event information, check out the Different Fight Chris's video on it here on the screen. Should be linked in the little eye thing, or I forget whatever it's called, but that should be up there now. First time using one of these, but that should be there. Go check out his video where he actually goes over the event and everything. But that being said, let's get into the deck profile. Showcase. Whatever. Stay on so we can get into the fight. So here we are at the actual deck. Biggest thing that I'm missing is the other 2 copies of the GR. Like I said, with how many stages that I have, I spent my materials wiser from the event. I probably could have gotten another 2 of these, but I do feel like this is what the average person will be able to pull, a place of all the triple rare and below, and 2 of the GR overall. That being said, let's get into how this deck actually works. Starting it off, we have 4 copies of the Stride Father. It's just a Stride Father. You discard it, it's a grade 3 when you discard for Stride. However, the Stride Fathers have been buffed in 0 to where whenever you would play it, you don't have to reveal a grade 3, you just discard a card from your hand and add your grade 3 boss to your hand that's listed on the card. So in this case, it would be Extreme Battler Victor, or any grade 3 with Victor in its name. Then, moving on, playing 4 copies of the Countercharge PG. Now, me personally, I'm a little conflicted. I'm actually thinking about playing OG PGs because right now, a lot of people are playing criticals. A lot of people. And the old PGs would stop you from dying as hard, but when you do get into the late game, you do counterblast a good chunk when you get into your late game, so perhaps this will end up being better overall. I'm not entirely sure yet. Still kind of trying to get the feel for this deck, and I'm definitely going to screw up a lot of plays because you really need to be optimal in the plays. Playing for something wrench, I forget its full name, but basically this card says once per turn when something else in the same column stands, that unit gets plus 3k power. Really simple card, just extra nice power. You can swing unboosted into an intercept, stand that card, and this essentially is a 10k booster for the stud card. Plus, you're going to stand that card with at least 3k power, which means that it's going to be at least a 22 column. If it's a 9k, if it's the 8k, that means it'll at least be a 21 column, if not more power that's added on. So overall, really great card, really good overall. And then rounding off the last grade 1, playing 1 Energy Riser for that Soul Blast 2, draw a card because you do not use your soul for anything in this deck. So it's overall really good. Then moving forward, playing 4 copies of Cool Hank. This is your ultimate win com. You really want to use this during your final-ish turns because this is what really lets you do stuff unless you have the really good setup and you can do all this stuff on first strike. It's best to try and space these out or to hold on to 2 of them for when your opponent's already at that 4 to 5 damage range, since they can stand each other, but it is still once per turn. For anyone that doesn't know, he says whenever he attacks a Vanguard on Generation Break once per turn, counterblast 1 if this unit was boosted, stand 1 of your other rear guards with plus 3k. Really good card, really solid. I think I've seen some people talking about dropping him down for some other stuff, but for me, playing him at 4 because you only really want to see him in the late game, but you need to see him to really push. So to me, I just play him at 4 for the sake of consistency. Then moving on, I am playing, 3 Sazanza. I'm playing 3 Sazanza, or as me and my friends always call it back in G, Sastanza. But anyways, Sastanza here. So it just says once per turn when it would stand by a card effect, it gets power plus 5k on GB. Now, the thing is, this card used to not be once per turn, and I guess I get why they nerfed it, but it does hurt the deck a bit. Although you're not going to really be standing a rear guard more than once in a turn on average. There's some niche situations where you will, but you're probably only going to be standing this guy once per turn at the moment. When future stuff comes out, that will change. But 3 of him, and then moving on to 3 copies of Starlight Hedgehog. This card says, when placed, choose one of your other rear guards, and it gets the ability, when this card would stand by your card effect this turn, draw a card, countercharge 1. This card is so good. I completely forgot this Drew You card, and was thinking it was just countercharge, so I just left it to the side, and then I went back and reread it, and I was like, wait a minute, this draws me cards every time the card stands. That's silly. Now, there is a combo with the starter, which is here, Rumble. Because I always forget to go after the starters, because they're like the most obvious thing, right? So Rumble says GB, when something in the same column stands, stand this unit. Well, there's the grade 1 Cray Soldier, which I'll have here on screen now. Cray Soldier ends up saying, whenever an attack it boosted hits, stand this unit, which will then also stand the Rumble, and you have an 11k column that basically can poke out your opponent's whole front row. It's a niche little neat thing, but because it's so low powered and it's taking up a whole column, it's not really that good. I tried it out, and while it was fun, it really wasn't that great. But if you get the Rumble Cray Soldier combo off with Starlight Hedgehog, you're just gonna draw like 3 cards in that turn and wipe out their front row. It's just fun. It's one of those niche cool things that doesn't have much practicality, but you might see it randomly happen just from a random player. Then finishing off the grade 2s, 3 copies of Transriser, because plussing is always good, and it's still an intercept, so it's the best kind of plus. Even if you whiff, I guess it sucks, but you'll be fine, because your opponent's just going to attack into it, and yeah, you know, it does suck if you ride it. That means you can get rushed a bit easier, which does suck for the deck, but just how it be. Then moving on to 4 copies of Victor himself. Now, Victor got super nerfed in 0, unfortunately. I do not think his GB2 needed to be nerfed. But I understand this on-stride skill, right? I understand the on-stride skill. So first off, all of the skills used to give plus 5k when they stood their things. When they would stand on the rear guard, they gave 5k. Now they only give 3k. Fine. Understandable. Still good power. Whatever. Well, both of his skills used to just be when the Vanguard attacked, and now they're both when the Vanguard's attack hits an opponent's Vanguard, which extremely limits how good this deck is. Now, don't get me wrong, if that didn't have to happen, it was just still on attack, woo boy, this would be good stuff. But what he does is that on GB2, when his attack hits a Vanguard, you can, for free, stand one of your rear guards with plus 3k. Still really solid, but unfortunately, still not really that good because it's an on-hit. This really did not need to be an on-hit. I really wish they would make... because Alt Model's GB2 is still solid, but because Zero's taunts exist, this becomes infinitely worse, or his GB2 becomes infinitely worse. But at the same time, Victor's GB2 is just nerfed beyond belief, also because your opponent's intercepts are taunts, and he now has to hit the Vanguard. So that really sucks. And then his on-strike skill is just, whenever you would try and top him, you can give his same GB2 skill, except for it won't be GB2 whatever's thrown over him, except for it costs a counterblast. In one place, like all of the current G bosses, gets power plus 3k. Then moving on to our other 2 copies of Musashi here. Whenever he's placed, you can Soul Blast 1, give a unit plus 5k. Whenever he attacks on Generation Break on your Vanguard, you can Counterblast 2, choose one of your rear guards with power plus, give it power plus 2k, then choose an opponent's rear guard and retire it with the lowest power, with power lower than it, or the lowest power, I forget which exactly it is. I can't really read Moon Rune, so I just have to memorize translations. Never once got into this card. It's just an 11k beater. That's an extra backup grade 3, mostly used as just a beat stick on the field or a stride fodder. Then I'm playing 3 copies of the Critical here. I actually wasn't playing this at first because all your skills were on hits, but then I realized how important it is to have the crit pressure in general, plus having the extra boosters has actually been very helpful a lot. So yeah, this card's been very helpful. I don't like playing these G crits at 4 personally, because that pushes me down to only 5 grade 3s, and I personally like having 6. It's just for my own safe comfort. I like having 6 grade 3s, so I only play 3 of these crits, and it makes it feel. It also makes them feel a little less cloggy to me when I'm playing them at 3. So pretty much usually almost all my deck profiles are only going to play them at 3 that have the G-related boxes. Then for the final, grade 0, 4 copies of the Heal Guards, like basically almost every deck from here on out is going to have, just because extra defense is good. However, do keep in mind that since this is a grade 0, Transferizer can call this, and that does suck. Unlike before with it, if it was a grade 3, it just goes back. Then moving on to the G units, we'll start with Vic 10. Great, so playing 4 of them, you only really need 2 to 3, but I have 4, so playing them. When his attack hits a Vanguard, standard rear guards plus 3k, it's the exact same as Victor's on strikes, because you're just going to be getting a bunch of when I hit stand things with some power, so that's just what the deck does. Unfortunately, all has to hit the Vanguard, like I said, which extremely limits the deck's potential. Then moving in, playing 2 copies of Victoplasma. He says, on GB2, Counterblast 2, G Persona Blast. This card gets Drive -1 in the ability. At the end of the battle, this card attacks a Vanguard, yet again. You can discard 2 cards, stand this unit, and draw a card. Now, this card is good, and I do think right now you're going to want 4 of it. So my best advice to you, if you are playing the event, is just not to spend any of your materials till the end of the event to see what you can get. Because if you can get 4 of this in like if you can get like 4 of this in the like 4 Victor and 2 to 3 Cool Hanks and 2 to 3 Victoplasma, I would say go on ahead and do that for right now, because that is this card is like really good because it's your only option when you've already pushed your opponent to 5 besides Cool Hank, and you just, because they made everything on it, this card's just kind of necessary at the moment. This will instantly be dropped down to a 2 as soon as we get more G units, assuming they don't hard super nerf them. But overall, really good card. And then because just to have it, you know, I threw in 2 other G units. I like the Vanilla's art better. It's never going to be strode into, so I'm just playing it over the one that actually has an effect. That's simply it. Well, that's it for the deck profile portion. Let's get into some actual fights. And for the first match, we have a Nova Grappler mirror match. Honestly, not surprised. You're probably going to see it, because the deck is good, right? It is definitely good. It could be better. It definitely could be better, but the deck is good. Plus, it's a free-to-play deck right now. And a lot of it's just, you know, like I said, pretty good overall. And it's also a fan favorite thing. Sadly, probably gonna, well, I am going second, so I will draw 2. And actually, that's actually cool. This is actually my first time going second playtesting this deck. Here we go! Alright, so he's riding Energy Riser himself. Depending on my draw, I might have to end up riding Energy Riser as well. Alright, so I do have a Stride Father here, and I do have Attacker, so I think I'm going to, or I have a grade 3 specifically to discard. So I'm going to just go on ahead and ride my Stride Father and save Energy Riser for that extra draw. And alright, so just come in for this, because you really want to conserve your hand as much as possible, because you're not doing anything until you stride really in this deck. You might play down early Trans Riser, but for the most part, you're trying your best to not waste too many cards advantage. See, there, he's not going down any intercepts. He does get to heal though, which is really good for him right now. I have a pretty decent setup, so that's fine. There goes one of my PGs, and now that I think about it, I don't have any, or I at least threw a heal. I would have preferred it to be me having a PG, because I prefer a PG over a heal anytime, unless it's for guard restrict. Now, here's the issue, and it's probably the main reason that I need to bump Hedgehog down by 2, right? It's because I probably honestly need to play the Forces Zanza, because I've been kind of running into this problem of not, because I don't want to play him down early, and so shoot, he's a 9k though, so I think I'm just gonna go ahead and ride stances. So yeah, honestly, probably gonna drop Starlight Hedgehog down by 1. I might have said Unicorn a moment ago like an idiot. So we draw to another heal. At least it's some kind of defense. And then he gets it's one of his Cool Hanks out of the way, so that's good. But does he put up any defense for me? That's really what matters here. And alright, so he rides Victor. He got his SPs. Already got mine, but you know, I kind of broke them down because I'm not gonna be another PG. I'm not gonna be keeping up with this event as far as trying to what's the word? Trying to actually keep up with Nova Grappler. Or at least that's a wasted heal for him, even though he just threw some cards. What did we get? Nothing? I understand. Alright, of course we're gonna first ride Victor. And then, what are we gonna do? Well, there's only one stride option, so go ahead and just get the stride stuff out of the way so we're not wasting time and see what we draw into. Shit. Go ahead, do this, draw. Not the best. Not the best. Go on ahead and play out Energy Riser. See what else we can draw into. Our Strike Father. We're going to need to save that for next turn, though. So, because this will be 13-16, what we need it to be. Alright, so I'll go ahead and just give this to him. And we'll... honestly, probably should just call this over here so I can have room for that, because it's not going to be retired. But I think we're just going to do that and save the rest of this for next turn. See what ends up happening. No trigger there, so as long as we get a trigger here, we should be fine. But looks like we're not going to get one. But I'll go ahead and still do a stand. For the sake of it, go on ahead and just stand the stuff for free. Just so I can get the draw off, which is the main point, you know, of the Hedgehog is to draw. And we draw into another Hedgehog, which is fine and dandy, but I guess we'll just end up having to leave it there. I'm going to save the rest of this now, because I really wanted to get the extra draw off for next turn, and have set up for next turn when we go into Victoplasma. See, he's out 2 heals, but I'm out 2 PGs, which is honestly worse in this situation, because he doesn't have any kind of guard restrict, so I want PGs. Especially since his Vanguard can come in big next turn. He's probably not gonna, well, he's not gonna kill me this turn most likely. Oh, he's playing the Crazed Soldier. That's very interesting. I've also been seeing some people play Ashura Kaiser as like the backup grade 3, which I guess finds really any 11k grade 3 will end up working. And you know, if you have room for legions, that's also fine. So that'll stand back up. And with his Cool Hank, it only comes in for 20 though, so it doesn't hit the best numbers. And unfortunately, there goes my 3rd PG. Yep, sounds about like a normal game for me. Well, what's defense? What's defense? Well, I basically got 1 turn to kill him now, but he only has 1 intercept, so that might help. Coming in, I draw into another another Strike Father. Go ahead and ditch one of them. See what we end up getting. Into what do we get him drawn? Ooh, another Hedgehog. Yeah, probably just need to drop this down to a 2 of and have another Sustanza. Go ahead and plop this down. Shoot. Go ahead and call out Cool Hank. Go on ahead and call out Hedgehog. Give ability to, you know, here. Go ahead, perform the CB2. And go in for battle. We'll swing in here. And then we'll swing in for this. Go on ahead, use Cool Hank's skill to restand. And then that'll restand, and then I'll countercharge and draw. Sadly, that was another heal that could have gone off. Oof, why do you have to do this to me? Sorry, then. So we'll just go ahead and swing at his rear guard. Come in, swing like this. Get a draw off. Alright, that's a Cool Hank for next turn, which is good, assuming that we survive. Nope. And then go on ahead and stand him, so we can get another CB1 draw off. We'll go on ahead and discard 2. Sure, we'll discard both of these. Stand with the draw. Alright, so that is good. Or is that a once per turn skill it gives it? I forget. First check, second check. Come on, show me. I didn't even notice if I drew off of it or not. Alright, never mind. It gives it to us once per turn. Okay, I haven't actually had a chance so far to stand a thing more than once, so That does suck a bit, so that kind of was a pointless stand, I guess, overall. Now he's going to be striding to his second stride, in which case I am most likely dead. And I have only, what, 1 heal left in deck? Yeah, no PG, so that's no fun. Oh, he has the Great Soldier Rumble combo, yay! So you get to see it from his side. Alright, so yeah, it says that you do this here. And then you stand again, and then you go in, and then you go. And then, you know, this will take out both of my things, but then if he hits me, I have to heal twice, which there's only 1 heal left in deck, and then he'll end up restanding. He gets the crit here. So, yeah, that's kind of GG's. I actually yet to so far win with this deck, mostly because I either literally never get any grade 3s to hand, or all my PGs end up in damage like that. Sadly, that's just my luck with this game, but, you know, as long as we get to keep showing off, honestly, the mirror matches make things better, because I get to show off more builds and more plays, so keep it coming, because that's the whole point of showing what this deck can do, even if I'm the one losing. I will not claim to be a professional at this game. I make stupid decisions all the time, especially when I'm trying to commentate. Never the best, never the best combination for me overall. But I did actually have a pretty decent hand there. But against Victor, you really need to have at least 2 PGs because he's gonna have a massive freestanding Vanguard, and they're like literally every single one of my opponents, they'll always get triggers when they need to, and they'll always have their PGs. Oh man, I can't wait to get my Alt-Mile deck finally finished. I've yet to pull any Samuels or my second Saint Below, which I can just craft with Samuels, literally no problem. Just trying to pull the Saint Below so I can get it done so I can make the Alt-Mile video. Alright, so we're actually fighting Kagero, which is kind of the worst matchup right now. Although I did see one match earlier when practicing that I found very interesting. I think I'll just throw that back for the moment and keep that so I can use it, since I'll have to probably use the Strike Father to search for Victor. If not, then oh well. We'll end up riding the Wrench first, but I did see some matches earlier that were using, instead of Starlight Hedgehog, Poodle Jack because of Kagero and Royals right now. Alright, so we got Victor, so we're good. Going ahead, let's go ahead and still ride a Wrench. So we're not going to need 2 of them, because Rumble's going to be over here. And because, like I said, we don't need to, especially against Kagero, we want to try to commit as little as possible to go off and get stuff. Hey, that's a wasted heal, but as soon as he heals, it's going to be the first thing that goes there, and he's going to have 2 heals in his damage, or his drop zone for him. And now he has the Striking, so, he won't be able to do the Legion play. But this is probably where you know where we damage deny him, like good players. Because when you're fighting against this matchup, if you have it already, they'll specifically ride the Striking, and they'll have, even if they don't throw down a Bellicosity, they usually have a Grom, so that they can countercharge on the next turn. And it looks like my only grade 2 is Cooling, sadly. Come on. And what they'll do is that they'll bait you, where they, a lot of times they'll bait you to where they won't countercharge and just hold on to a Grom, so that they can ride the end on their next turn, and, you know, crit game you with a restand. I'm just going to swing under, even if I get a trigger, I would have just given it to Rumble. I was just trying to see if I could get possibly draw. Unless it was a critical, then I would break through to try and push for damage. But let's see, what does he end up riding? He ends up riding the cross anyways, so if he did have, this is the ultimate, the better option, 90%. See, he did have the end in hand, and he probably also has a Grom in hand, and I didn't want to give him that option. He's still going to probably get a trigger to hit me with these 2 crit. Yep, he hits the draw. Oh, so he's playing the tech of Blade Master. That's, as you saw in the cross build, one of the many techs that you could play. That would be good. Double heal, sadly, but at least one of them actually triggers, so it's back to us. So we'll go on ahead and ride into Victor, and discard Victor just to stride into Victin. Honestly, probably should have discarded Strike Father, now that I think about it, kind of getting ahead of myself there. That way I could have another attacker. Does it draw me to... No, it draws me to a PG though, which is really important. So we'll do this, basically. Like I said, I don't want to overcommit right now, because this will, depend... So if he doesn't... Alright. So if he doesn't hit a trigger, if I hit a trigger, we'll still be good here. No trigger, no trigger, and a critical trigger. Alright, so we're dealing 2 damage either way. So now this isn't going to hit. I guess I'll go after, yeah, see, there's at least, you know, it's not the double heal in the drop. Go on ahead and stand back up. Now that I think, crap, that is true. I could have, I don't know what I was thinking. I mean, so here's the thing, learn from my mistakes, because I am making these videos rather quickly because I just finished this deck a little over a day ago, so I haven't been testing entirely, like I haven't had a lot of practice. I just kind of want to get these videos out of the way so I can, you know, get them out there to get people to have ideas, especially since I kind of like to play Zero right now, and learning experiences are learning experiences. So, yep, he's gonna throw back the heal and the draws. Yeah, that's a pretty normal Legion back for the cross. And we don't have any intercepts, but doesn't really matter because he would just pop them anyway, so I should attack into all of them. There goes Rumble, sadly. Yeah, if I was smart, I could have dealt another damage. I've actually boosted with this because, yeah, I forget the double stack up on Victor's on stride and Victin's skill. And then, of course, if he gets a single trigger, which he most likely will, because there's almost no way that he's not going to get a trigger, he'll end up giving the power to the rear guard. Of course, you know, he has the in, and he already searched for the cross. Because that's things that typically, unless you really need them, you're just going to keep searching the cross on Legion, so you have access to the ability to keep re-legioning stuff back in. Well, I get no trigger, so I at least get to actually keep my intercept there, which is nice. Or, yeah, I was about to say, wait, what? And then moving on, so we got another stride fodder. I guess we'll go on ahead and stride, see what we end up pulling into. Unfortunately, we do kind of need something here. And he's probably still holding on to, ooh, that's actually really good right now. If he was at 1 more damage, this would be an amazing hand. Go on ahead and do this. Do this. Pay the CB2. Get that out of the way. And with that, let's go on into battle. Do going like this. No triggers, which sucks. Go on ahead and stand this up. It's plus 3k. Discard both of them. Sadly, this is revealing that I have heals. I don't have the heal. And then we come in like this, and you're going to get the trigger here. It would be nice, but that's only going to bump him up to 17. But this will bump him up to 17, but if he doesn't hit a trigger here, he does hit a trigger, so now I have to hit double triggers. Like, if he doesn't hit a trigger here, it's just going to take 1 trigger. Oh, there's the first trigger. Can I get the second follow-up? Nope. Ah, darn it. I didn't need, and now I didn't need to boost that time because I was getting my attack words mixed up. So, yeah, there's actually this Victor's actually one of the more technical decks you need to learn how to play against. And if you're smart, unlike me, you'd actually be able to do that rather efficiently. Although, since it used a PG, that means he doesn't have any heals in his hand, which is rather interesting. And I know I saw a PG go to bomb a deck earlier, which means that right now he only has like a max of 2 PGs and currently no heals in hand. So if I do somehow survive this, I might be able to blow him up a bit. But especially, he's going to probably end up searching another of the cross here so that even if he doesn't kill me this turn, he can pop my back row. I think that'd be the smarter option. And then goes into Legion, which will he end up searching? Ends up searching for the end, okay. He might also already have another copy of the cross in hand. And let's see, what will he call down? And okay, so another of the cross. Very interesting. Very, very interesting. I mean, might as well, I guess, right now. So that means he has like 2 of the end in hand, most likely. Now, I really need to hit a defensive here in order to do anything. Let's see, I think I still have one heal. No, I'm out of heals. Okay. I can get a draw into a PG, but that's about it. That's a draw to a PG. Nope, into another crit. Well, if he, okay, yeah, I was about to say. If he somehow doesn't get any triggers, I can survive. This literally comes down to whether or not he gets another trigger on this twin drive, which he most likely will. Oh wait, no, yeah, there it goes. Now he can give it to the rear guard. And he heals. Darn it. And then that comes in for a game. Maybe one day I'll actually win a proper match without my opponent giving up on me on these recordings. But, well, that's it. So, honestly, from my deck list, I would drop down Starlight Starlight Hedgehog down to 2 and play in the Forces Anza. Now that I'm really more play testing it now, I think that's going to be the better option. Look at, you know, my mistakes of when you should actually boost and when you shouldn't boost. I think that's very, very important to learn those distinctions between each other. And like I said, Victor is one of the more technical decks for that reason. It's kind of similar to a Silverthorn. I'd say it's the closest deck to compare it to. I think Silverthorn still can be a little... I don't know, I think Victor's a little bit more... need to be a little bit more knowledgeable on because everything has to hit the Vanguard. So, yeah. Overall, been really enjoying the deck. Going ahead, you know, try this out because everything in this deck is either from the event or it's something cheap that you can end up crafting on top of it. So this deck is pretty good into, but if you do have Brutal Jacks and want to try those out, that's also another thing that you could try to put in. I personally would probably put them over the Starlight Hedgehogs, and that means you are losing out on that countercharge skill. But riding it does give you an 11k base, which stops a lot of early rush, which is absolutely what you want in the game. However, a lot of decks also do like to try and hold back because now we're going to be into a strike game, so early games are going to be a lot weaker because a lot of strike games can just blow you out of the game, so you want to hold back on resources a lot. But also, because people know that Victor is kind of fragile, they'll try to rush it really hard sometimes if they have the pieces to. And right now, Victor doesn't have really a way to control the opponent's board, so they're a little bit more safer on that, especially if they can plus quite a bit. So do keep that in mind. Brutal Jack might also be a really good pick in order for you to test out with. I wouldn't go out of my way to craft them quite yet until you really know that that's what you want to get. But if you already have Brutal Jacks, they are definitely a good, interesting choice for this deck list. So with that being said, thank you guys for watching. Keep playing the games you want to play, and as always, have fun.
Stay tuned for more Card Fight Vanguard from Nerd TCG. Don't forget to like and subscribe.